Dylan didn't get to play this year.
Yep.
He's got an injury on his leg.
He was up there yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, he still goes with the team, but
Okay, thank you for everyone for coming. I'm going to call the regular Board of Education regular meeting to order at 7:01. If you would all please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
it's in the way back.
there. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
There's long-term subject test for first grade open.
That's a little bit of a haul.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is order of business. I do have some changes to this, so bear with me as we move these things around. But we are going to move item H, reports, before item G, new business. Under new business, I'm going to remove items 2 and 3 and put those down underneath executive session. And then executive session will follow public comment and be before adjournment. Okay. Next item on the agenda is communications to the Board of Education. I'm not aware of any communications.
I've not received any.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right into the superintendent's report.
All right.
All you.
Thank you very much. Strap up, saddle in. We've got a lot of great things to talk about this evening. Thank you for all being here tonight. So I'd like to start off first by, again, acknowledging our veterans and their service to our great state of Connecticut and to the world and to the globe. We had a great Veterans Day celebration throughout our district, especially to our New Hartford residents that are veterans as well. We had a wonderful opportunity to celebrate them throughout our entire district. Also want to open up with a quote, just again to put us in the right mood for the Thanksgiving holiday coming up. And I would like to read that gratitude helps you see what is there instead of what is not. Some quick staff updates. We have, we're going to give a warm welcome to Lori Wazalowski, our new school nurse at New Hartford Elementary Education. We're super excited to have her there after a search. And she's transitioning in nicely and learning the culture and supporting students and staff there. So thank you and welcome to Lori. Next up is education here in New Hartford. I'd like to introduce Emma Jack and Dexter Ceruto. Emma is in 6th grade in Mrs. Stapleton's class. Emma loves playing sports. She has been dancing since she was 3 and specializes in acro and ballet. Emma plays New Hartford rec soccer and attends volleyball camps. Her favorite subject at school is ELA because Percy Jackson is a really fun book with lots of action. Emma has a huge family and has, wait on this, 8 siblings. She has 2 dogs and some chickens. Emma likes to spend time with her friends. In the future, Emma hopes to go to cosmetology school and to become a stylist for actors. So welcome, Emma. We are super excited to have you. Dexter Ceruto is in 6th grade in Mrs. Stapleton's class as well. His favorite subjects in school are social studies and science. Outside of school, Dexter likes to draw, and he is very active in kickboxing and jujitsu. Do not mess with this guy. He loves reading and is currently writing a creative story about Native American mythology. Dexter lives with his mom and dad and his sister, Luna. Dexter has several pets, including a cat, a lizard, and a snake. Welcome to Dexter as well. So we're so happy to have our student reps for this year, and I'd like to turn it over to them. They are going to give us updates regarding district happenings throughout various grade levels over the course of the year. And then, of course, you don't have to stay for the full board meeting, so you are respectfully dismissed. You do not have to stay, just to alleviate any pressure, okay? All right, fantastic. Is your mic on, guys? Is it green by any chance? If not, just click that little button. If not, we can get you some. There we go. Excellent. Take it away.
Back in September, we went on a field trip to Adventure Park and stores. It was a great learning experience for the whole grade. There was ziplining as well as team building games like stepping stones, a game where you put pads on the floor and try not to touch the ground while helping others. It was a great game where you have to be productive for your team and try your hardest. In ELA, we read The Lightning Thief. This is an amazing novel that has lots of fun. That we had a lot of fun reading. It was educational, informing us about the mythic Greek gods. Even though the main character is a demigod, it was also relatable because the characters are aged and we have a lot in common with them. The Civil War unit was an interesting subject to learn about. It was thought-provoking as well as sad to learn about the things that were happening in the 1860s, especially relating to slavery. We also learned about many of the brilliant inventions and proclamations that would shape and change America forever. Switching classes was a fun experience while getting us ready for middle school. It was good for us because we could get some new scenery instead of sitting in one classroom all day. I miss the teachers as soon as I leave. I just love them all so much and have so much fun in all 3 subjects. We are happy to tell you that the 6th graders all have free seating in the cafeteria. It is more fun as well as a treat for all 6th graders. It motivates us to not have strict assigned seats so we can sit next to friends from other classrooms. We all work hard to keep this privilege. 6th grade is off to a very good start this year.
A class charter is a roller tool. It helps everyone share how they want to feel in their classroom. All classrooms create a charter in their beginning of the year. In my classroom, when we made our charter, we were in groups and all of us worked together to figure out how we wanted to feel. We had to use meaningful words. In the end, we noticed we had a bunch of the same words. We decided we wanted to feel safe, focused, respected, and happy. We talked about each word in table groups and then put them into more of feelings. A charter is important because these feelings are coming from us, so it means how we really want to feel. It is from the kids' perspective. I reached out to Miss Stutlinger and asked how her 3rd grade class wanted to feel. She said her class wants to feel successful, proud, and included when they are at school because that helps them do their best work and be their best selves. I also reached out to Miss Lepresti, and her 1st grade class wants to feel happy, proud, safe, and calm. This helps them do their best every day. You can tell that kids actually want to feel this way because at the end of a class charter, they all sign it like a contract. This means that you are agreeing to let everybody and yourself feel this way at school. As you can see, a class charter is more than a piece of paper. It is who our best self wants to be every day.
Thank you so much, Emma, and thank you, Dexter. So this is off script, but would the board please indulge me, along with our student reps, can we get a picture of the entire board with our student reps? Pretty please? Okay, come on over. Let's gather, let's go along this wall right here. Student reps, come on up. Kelly, can you take a picture, or Mike, please? Thank you so much. I know. See you later. Thank you so much. Kelly, can we get one more picture? John, can you come on up, sir? I want to get one picture with you. Oh.
With your
Yeah.
award, John.
Yeah, can you take your award out?
Your black,
Oh,
your black.
thank you.
Good job, guys.
so much. Thanks again. Have a great night. Thank you, Carol, for letting me come out tonight. Thank you. All right. Continuing on the superintendent's report, up next, I just wanted to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. Both Emma and Dexter went through a process to be elected to be the candidates of choice for our Board of Education. So I want to commend you both. You did an outstanding job. Also, I want to commend Dr. Kelly Carroll for helping us select such amazing board reps for our student reps and all of the Antolini staff as well that contributed and helped out. So thank you so much to you both. All right. So just as a reminder, you guys don't have to stick around, but if you want to, knock yourselves out. All right. Up next, just want to give a quick update about some of the board business. And recently at our CABE CAPS conference, our delegate, Deirdre Tyndall, did a fantastic job. Her engagement and leadership as our delegate at her first ever delegate assembly. She learned a lot and looks forward to sharing some more information with the Board of Education going forward relative to CABE's resolutions and some of the legislative work that they do at the CABE assembly. Do you want to say anything briefly about that? Okay, very good. Moving on. I want to give a special thanks to our board chair right here to my right-hand side, Mr. Tim Kleps, for his work at our recent Board of Education retreat, as well as Dave Irwin, who helped facilitate. Also, our student services director, right back there, Mike Lynch, and all of the board for your engagement, for an awesome night of learning, talking, and having good conversation relative to our work as a Board of Education and how we continue to improve our school system here, which is near and dear to our hearts since it's all about the kids. Up next, I know the list goes on and on. We have some good news. We've also been awarded the Eversource Solar Grant that has been awarded to our board and to our town. So much more planning needs to be done, but we've received the award notification recently. So I'll be working with First Selectman Dan Jerem as we continue that process. It will be lengthy. There are many steps to engage in. If you've ever installed solar, you may know, and as a residential component, but also commercially, there's a lot of steps that we have to take. So we'll be working on that. Also recently, we worked, Mr. Kleps and I went to a Board of Finance meeting and we shared with them that we have adopted our non-lapsing account for a Board of Education policy. And one of the outcomes there was that they would like to see it reflected in some format, either quarterly or monthly. So we will work on that format with our Board of Finance together to do that and make sure that that is a transparent non-lapsing account. Also want to thank all of the Board of Finance and our First Selectman Dan Jerem for touring our schools recently to see our most recent physical enhancements that we have made to our school buildings relative to security. And lastly, I'll wrap up my superintendent's report with wishing all of our New Hartford community a happy Thanksgiving. That is all.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent?
I have a question. Where does I can't remember, and I'm sorry because I'm tired. Where is the plan for the solar panels going to go? Is it everywhere? What school?
Antolini only.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. No worries. Working on location. There's so many logistical things to still come. Again, having done it at home, big endeavor here at school. Any other questions?
Does it just,
Go ahead.
does it just cover the electricity here?
It will. The plan is that we'll cover here and then also provide additional credits and cash flow to the town as well.
Not to the other schools?
No.
Oh,
This building consumes the largest amount of electricity. So this is the major site that we went for.
Bless
The
you.
other locations are not as conducive to a
Right.
solar system. This happens to be the largest piece of property and makes the most sense.
and they're paying for all of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing from us at all?
It should not be.
That's good.
That's.
And
Yes,
how
it-
soon are they doing it?
There's a benefit. There's a benefit to them.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Of course.
How soon will they do this?
We've just received the award. It could take anywhere from, my estimation would be 3 to 5 months at least.
Oh, okay.
Presentations to the town, working out all the logistics. There's a lot still to come. But just the initial good news is that we were awarded that, and we're looking to help the town realize some savings as well as some of our board budget as well.
So then do we get money back from them or?
Yep, that is the intent.
Oh, good.
Yep.
That helps. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions before I? Okay. At this time, also to wrap up our superintendent's report, but a very important part of our presentation this evening, I'd like to welcome up my administrative team. They're going to come up. We're going to present our academic updates relative to New Hartford Public Schools. So I'll welcome them up, and we will focus our attention on the screen behind me. Yeah, Heather, can you grab the mic? Okay, we are live. So I want to thank all of my administrative team for their work on preparing this presentation. We've obviously had already shared some of our survey results with the Board of Education. We're now going to share some of our academic performance, things that we are extremely proud of, and obviously the work that needs to continue to be done so that we continue to meet the excellence, the standards of excellence that we have here in New Hartford Public Schools. So we'll see that throughout this presentation. This and the survey results and other components will then work on our strategic plan. So that's the next big element that we're going to be working on as a board. We hope to have that all tied up and ready to go by our January Board of Education meeting to share with the Board of Education. All right, so without further ado, I will pass it on to, I believe, Amy, are you starting off?
Thank you. So tonight we're going to dive into some student performance data. We're going to focus on some of the state assessments that our students take, which is the Smarter Balanced Assessment for ELA and mathematics. This is for grades 3 through 6, and also science, which is administered to all the 5th graders. And then we're also going to dive into some data for our universal screening that we use for reading foundational skills, focusing on the DIBELS assessment that's given to all students K-3. So we're going to see a mix of our universal screeners and our state assessments. You know, both of those types of assessments serve different purposes. When we're talking about DIBELS and our universal screeners, we really utilize those assessments to guide our everyday and to provide targeted interventions for students throughout the year. And then our Smarter Balanced state assessments, those are really sort of that one time at the end of the year to give us a glimpse of how our students are performing related to grade level expectations. So as we, look at our data tonight and we look at the key insights that we see, our team is always thinking about how we measure success and being as holistic as possible. We're not counting on just one data point to tell us that. It's always multiple measures. Also, we look at this data all the time. We're always utilizing this as we continue to grow. Once is never enough when we're looking at this information. And then also, a data-wise district, we always use this information to help us ask the right questions. It never provides answers, but leads us to the right direction. So we'll dive into some data now and show you some of those key insights.
So the first piece of data that we'll look at comes from our DIBELS assessment. And as Amy mentioned, this is given to all students from kindergarten through 3rd grade. We do use it for students in 4th through 6th for targeted intervention use. It helps us to track their accuracy and fluency as they read. But for K-3, what you'll see here are our trends over the past 3 years as students enter into kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. And so as Amy mentioned, we kind of take a big picture look. This is our big picture with lots of colors. We're looking for what we notice over time. So at a big picture view, our key observations are our entering kindergartners are pretty typical for what we have seen over the past few years, meaning that we have those in red and yellow are often students that we're going to pay really close attention to at the very beginning to ensure that we're providing them the appropriate amount of support to continue to move them along. Another observation is that our 1st And second graders are off to a really strong start in comparison to prior years. It also tells us that over the summer, students are maintaining what they've learned from the previous grade level, which is tremendous. And then finally, our entering third graders, again, have a pretty typical start to the past 2 years. However, our students who are in the blue, which is the above category, are significantly higher than in years past. So at a first glance, those are some things we observe. Those are some things that we notice. We're starting to wonder. Amy will talk a little bit more closely about what these things mean, what questions we ask, some answers, where we want to go next. The other piece to this is given to all students beginning, middle, and end of the year. And those students that are in red and yellow, we're going to progress monitor them, meaning every 2 to 4 weeks, we're going to check in and see how are they progressing, how are they responding to either the intervention or the curriculum that they're being provided on a daily basis. So again, this piece of data serves multiple purposes for us.
Okay, so diving in a little bit deeper, sort of thinking about last year and how our students grow from the fall, winter, and spring. So Heather just showed you the slide that sort of compares fall to fall to fall. And so now when we want to look at how did our students perform over the course of the year last year. And so that's what we're going to see here. And you're going to see the fall. This is kindergartners last year, fall, winter, and spring. And then just for some added context, we threw in this bar to show this year's fall. So just to kind of go back to that previous slide. So both of those things are there. So some really great news for how our students performed last year that I'd like to share with you. So our 23-24 kindergarten last year had an awesome year throughout the year. So you can see here what we're really looking for is for those students that needed that extra support. Did we see that those students started to experience getting into the grade level expectation? So by the end of the year, we had 90% of the students performing at or above grade level, which is amazing. And so thinking about how those students are starting now as first graders, that's what's highlighted here. So they really maintained that start as well. So it's really great news. The next observation here to highlight is our current second graders. They also had tremendous growth throughout the year. So you see again, here they are as first graders, fall, winter, spring, and then they're maintaining that growth again starting this fall as second graders. And then just similar pattern here with our grade 3. So they're maintaining their end of year performance from grade 2, entering into Antolini. So overall, this really shows us we have a lot to be proud of and all of the efforts that we have put in, especially to how we are teaching those reading foundational skills and seeing that it's really paying off for our students. Okay, so that is sort of the DIBELS universal screening. So we're going to kind of jump to the next assessment with Kelly.
So NGSS is Next Generation Science Standards. So this is a summative science assessment that we give to only fifth graders in the spring of their fifth grade year. So we have some really great data here. What this is showing us is that New Hartford Public Schools are consistently overperforming compared to the state averages. The other nice thing about our science data is that we are maintaining our average scale year after year. So that speaks to our science curriculum and shows us that students are achieving what we are expecting them to achieve. They're doing very well. Yeah.
Okay, I'm the big picture lady here tonight. So here you have the big picture of what the last 3 years looks like for our 3rd through 6th grade students on the Smarter Balance assessment. This chart shows you the average scale score. So overall, how do our students perform in ELA and math over the 3 years? Kelly will talk more specifically about cohorts, because I know that's a question that we often are asked, and so we'll get into that in just a moment. But one of the things that we talked about last year is just the way the lines are moving. So our ELA, which is here on the left, is beginning to become more consistent. And so what we're looking for is a consistent, steady increase over time. We still have kind of these highs and lows in math, which is something that we're going to look more closely at. With our shift in how we are teaching reading and writing, we're hopeful that this will continue to go. So in our first year of implementation, we didn't see any drops in how our students are performing, which is not always typical. Oftentimes in an implementation year, you're going to see some inconsistencies in scores, but you'll see that from 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, our students continued to grow despite an implementation of a new curriculum. So it speaks to the work of our students, our staff, and just their perseverance through all of that. I don't want to go, I'm going to let Kelly dive a little deeper in. Yes, I'm going to stop talking.
Okay, so this is taking a little closer look at our ELA scores from our Smarter Balance assessment. Again, this is given one time a year. It's summative. We give it in the spring for all 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. So ELA, we're starting to see some really great trends. If you can recall some of our SBAC presentations from the past, we had lines all over the place. And what that was showing us is that students were achieving very different levels each year. Well, we've really straightened that out. We have some really nice lines that are more balanced. And we also have some beautiful scale score increases with cohorts. So I'm going to point some of those out. So if you look here, this is last year. This is last year's 5th graders, the year before they were 4th, and here they were in 3rd grade. Look at these beautiful, consistent jumps in their scale scores. Now, the scale score is how many points they earn on their Smarter Balanced assessment. So we're also seeing that same lovely trend. This is last year's 6th grade. Here they were in 5th, and here they were in 4th, and we have a nice balanced increase year after year. So we're very happy to see that. Some other successes that we're having is the state average is coded in yellow, and that's because the state is overall, they are at the approaching level. And here we are in New Hartford, we're meeting goal in all grade levels on our SBAC. So we're extremely proud of this. Something I think is a really great highlight, as Heather was pointing out, our 3rd graders coming in with all that awesome DIBELS work and with our new ELA curriculum, they're actually achieving quite a bit above the state average. So we're very proud of our work, and we're very proud of our 3rd graders. Okay, and this is our math data. Now, we notice that these trend lines are still a little bit volatile, so we understand that we have work to do on that. But we also have some really great trends with our cohorts happening in math as well. So again, we're starting to see, again, this is last year's 5th grade. Here they are in 4th and 3rd. Look at this really nice, fairly consistent jump year to year in their scale score. We're also seeing that with last year's 6th when they were in 5th and when they were in 4th. Really beautiful jumps. What we hope to do is prevent situations like this right here where there's not much of a difference between a 5th grade and a 6th grade scale score. So we're starting to already see some great improvement with that. Again, looking at the state scale score averages, the state is consistently still in that approaching level. New Hartford Public Schools, our 3rd graders they're on goal, and our 6th graders have met goal. Now, we realize that 4th and 5th are slightly below, but it's not that far. Grade 4 only needed 7 more points overall to reach goal. And then our 5th graders only needed 20 more points to reach goal. So we're not that far from really getting all of our students into that goal range.
All right, so one of the pieces of information that we look at when we look at the Smarter Balance, again, this is only 3rd through 6th graders in our district, is we can actually break it out by students who are either high need students or non-high need students. And just to explain, high needs is students with disabilities. It can also be a student with a 504. That's also a student with a disability, but is a regular education student. This also includes English as a second language, And it also includes students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. So all of those students are listed under the category of high needs. And what we use this information for is, this is part of our progress monitoring. We can look and highlight and see exactly who's scoring in the red. And that helps us plan when we meet as a team, when the MTSS team meets and plans. So it's just another piece of data that we use.
Thank you, team. Amazing job. And one other thing that I'd like to highlight here, so as Mike was mentioning, if this were real live and we were in the system, you could simply highlight over this and it would then give you a list of students or a hyperlink to find out who those students are, so that as we are progress monitoring, as we've mentioned before, nobody's falling through the cracks. So all of these systems are designed to ensure that as students are progressing or they are not progressing, we are fully aware of it. We put a plan in place to help and support them to get them to where they should be. Or if those interventions are not working over time through our MTSS process, then we are looking to evaluate. Maybe there's something more there. Maybe there's some type of disability, and that's where that would come months in after the intervention has been put in place for a long period of time, and if it's not successful. So this is just one other data point that we utilize. There's a lot of data that we use all of the time to ensure our students are getting what they need and that we're aware and cognizant of their growth or lack thereof. So some of the next steps, as I gave you a little prelude already, is we're going to utilize all of this information as well as our survey data to compile and put together a really nice strategic plan for our district over the next course of the next couple of years. Also, some other things that we're going to continue to do is continue implementing our ELA program. And this came with, some bumps, as with anything that's new. There's a lot of new learning, and our team persevered through it. Our teachers persevered through it. Our paraeducators, everybody understood. We've bought into this. We believe in it. We do have to give it time. It is more rigorous, and we've been reaping the benefits of a curriculum. The fact that we didn't dip significantly after a 1-year rehaul is a huge testament to this team and all of the educators and their perseverance. They didn't quit. They didn't stop. Maybe we complained. Maybe. I don't know. But that's okay. We have a safe environment where we can complain and vent, but then the work needs to move forward afterward as well. Those are the cultures that they have created in their buildings. We're also going to continue very hyper specialized training. Huge kudos to Mike for arranging this, as well as with Katie Belergeron, one of our special education teachers. This is hyper-focused training for our special educators. They're doing that over the course of this year, and that was amazing that they've attained this. This is really helping to support learners that don't typically learn how to read the way that we normally would, if we want to call any specific method normal. This takes a very, very in-depth look at how students are understanding letters, patterns together, what they do together, how it applies to their understanding of words and concepts. So Orton Gillingham is a very in-depth training that our special education teachers, all of them, are being trained in this to help students at a broader range. So we're super excited about that. We'll continue that. Some of our other universal screens, as we mentioned before, these are additional data points. We're going to continue that utilization to help us in our process of identifying students that need support and help. And then this is a big piece right here as well. Our emphasis has been on ELA. The state has encouraged us to do that, but we knew we needed to do something different anyway for our literacy component of our curriculum. So we've embraced that. We continue to do that. We're continuing with our professional development this year, but we absolutely understand that sometimes when you put too much focus on one thing, the balance tips a little bit too much. We've got to bring the balance back up to an equilibrium. So we're going to be putting a lot of focuses in our mathematics instruction and our professional development to support our students and to support our teachers for an effective delivery of the mathematics curriculum. So all of this we'll see duplicatively or over time in our district engagement plan, which we will be presenting in the month of January to the board and to the public. This concludes this part of our presentation. Please feel free, questions from the board. It's too bad we didn't have what?
Orton Gillingham 6 years ago.
Agreed.
We could have saved a lot of money for a student that got bused out of the state.
Thank you, Penny. Any other feedback or questions from the board this evening?
I've got a kind of
go
a
ahead.
general question.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since my kids went to school here, and when they did, there were a lot of things that tried to get parents involved. My son was very competitive, so he would like to try to get 8 hours a week reading, things like that. How big of with the strategy of improving scores, how much are parents involved?
That's an awesome question. I know that communication is key
And
relative.
how are they involved?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll turn it over to the team, but I believe in one of the biggest elements of it is measured by our students going home and sharing what they're learning, and their level of excitement has been a theme that I've, when I encounter folks around town or talk to them, or they're sharing those stories, that students are super engaged in the newest curriculum with our social studies and scientific focus. They're high engagement. So that's one element. In addition to other methods of that, again, I'll turn it over to my team for any other specifics.
I would just say basic communication in like our classroom teachers, whether they're sending a monthly newsletter or a weekly update or just a quick note home, just establishing open lines of communication in that way so families know what's happening. I would say that's a universal method that we're using. In the past, we have offered, parent nights and things like that. They weren't always well attended. So it's something that we've often talked about what are some better ways that we can include families in that process. Last year, we met as part of our ELA implementation. We have a parent focus group. And so we've started to discuss ways with that focus group about how best to engage our families in the schools and in just the process of these things. So those would be the two that come to mind.
One of the reasons I asked that question is, I teach at the high school, and I've noticed a significant decline in the amount of parental involvement in school activities. We didn't do the silent auction this year because there were no volunteers, parent volunteers, for example. And have you seen a little bit of a decline over the last few decades in the elementary level?
I would say if you use like our open houses as a data point, our open houses are so well attended. The parking lots are full. It is very rare that there are multiple families who don't attend a classroom. There might be one or two, there's sports, there's lots of things happening, but overall classroom teachers really are impressed by just the amount of families that attend those events. Just reminded me of
We, with the new curriculum too, with the EL education, there's a really awesome component that's built in. They're called celebrations of learning. And I just think as you were speaking, like what a great way to get our parents to come in and kind of be part of the learning experience. And we have started to do that as we're getting more familiar with the curriculum, where we've had some parents come in during the school day and the students have put on, their little songs and things like that. So we do look forward to, inviting our families in and be a part of that.
I'll start by saying again, I appreciate this presentation. Again, I'm one of the ones who continue to focus on the cohorts and how they're doing year to year. So I appreciate the analysis and the evaluation of how they went through that. I think it's great information, and it's fantastic information for our district. If you go back a couple slides, when we talk about math, and I was right there's fine, Jeff. Any thoughts around the fifth grade cohort, or the fifth grade class, I should say, from 21, 22 through 24, and the drop in the vertical scale score? Are there thoughts behind that?
So I'm actually going to answer that in a very general way and not specific to our fifth grade kiddos. But what we see on trend lines like this red one, this is a fifth grade one year, a fifth grade the next year, a fifth grade next year. It can vary greatly by the needs of the students. Unfortunately, we still do have kids that fifth grade was severely impacted by the COVID pandemic. We have been catching them up for quite a few years now. But it truly depends on that cohort of kids. So what we like to look at with this 5th grade in particular is watching them grow, right? It's hard sometimes to compare them year to year if you have groups that are just very different from each other. Does that help? Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, team. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, does that conclude the superintendent's report? All items?
Yes, all items and presentations, yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is Board of Education Chair's Report. Similar to Superintendent Sosa's thank you for my time at the board orientation retreat. I would also like to thank Jeff for putting that together, for orchestrating that. Dave Irwin, as well as Mike, thank you for coming. Thank you for working with the board. I think it was very well received. I think we went through some great information. Again, for the couple of members who couldn't make it to the retreat, again, the information's in there, and if you have any questions, please bring them forward to myself or to Jeff. The other item under this Board of Education Chair's report that I was going to mention was, again, we did meet with the Board of Finance to go through the security upgrades that are in place. Again, they're well underway, making our schools, all 3 schools, a much safer environment for the students and staff. And then the last item that I'll mention is we do have a town meeting coming up December 10th, if I recall is the date, 10th or the 11th. That's important for the board because that is going to be the presentation and the acceptance for the town of our grants. So if you can attend that, we would appreciate you being there.
10th.
The 10th.
7 o'clock.
Right.
Town Hall Senior Center.
Okay, and I
Yes.
think it's a Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday.
It's a regular Board of Finance meeting.
Okay.
The Board of Finance will be meeting at 6 o'clock, probably in the Senior Center, because they'll then adjourn to the town meeting that starts at 7 in the same location.
Okay, next item on the agenda is routine business. Does anybody have any reason to pull the minutes or the expenditure report? Or are we going to take them together or want to take them separately? Okay, if we're good taking them together. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of October 15, 2024 and the expenditure report.
So moved.
Moved by Penny, second. Any discussion? Frank. Any discussion, questions? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Okay, under new business, I'm sorry, oh, we got to go under reports with the change of order. So reports, item number 1 under reports is plant, facility, and transportation update on bus contract. I think, Tom, you're bringing us through that?
Yeah, the subcommittee met last month, early last month. The bus contract is up after this year, and we aligned that over the last couple of years with Regional 7, so theirs is also going to expire. So we recommended that Superintendent Sousa meet with his compatriots up the hill and coordinate some sort of RFP, and we get the most bang for our buck if we can get a contract with one bus company through they can handle both districts. So there's several out there that are viable options, and we're going to pursue an RFP and get the best price and bring it back to the committee and review it, and we'll bring it to the board.
Jeff, did you have that handout or no? Oh, you do. I was like, wait, was I supposed to bring it? Sure. Yeah, that's great. I don't really have much to report because I already reported on this, but we're just going to pass this around. This is just their new executive director, Jonathan Costa, is absolutely fantastic. And he sends out a monthly just spotlights of what's happening with Ed Advance. I'm not going to go through this and take time because you guys can read it and take it home. But the takeaway from this is that the RESCs, and in my mind, after being at the conference that I just went to, Ed Advance is like the creme de la creme of RESCs, right? I mean, I feel like they're just doing work that's just unbelievable for our school district. So you guys can read through some of the stuff that that Ed Advance is doing. I feel like there's so much going on every single month that to report out to the board about what they're doing and the impact that they're having on schools is very massive. So you can read through just some of the things that they're doing, but they have a lot of stuff planned for the next couple of months. And that's about it.
Any questions for Deirdre? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to new business. The only item under new business after the change of the order of business is Ed Advance Food Service. This was an item that Megan, you had asked to put on the agenda, so I will turn it over to you.
Well, I guess, so my bone of contention is the desserts that are offered every single day at lunch. My daughter asks for money every single day, and so then, me and my husband are sitting there questioning, like, why is this being offered every single day? She's telling me she's getting cotton candy ice cream, she could have chips, and I've talked to other parents in other districts, and they're, like, oh, well, we only get it once a month, we only do it once a week, and does it need to be every day? Is my question. I don't know everyone's thoughts on that. I don't know how to go forward with this, but it's, I think it should be reduced a lot to every day. I mean, we expect these kids, fill them up with sugar and expect them to sit at a desk all day, every day, and wonder why there's behavior problems a lot, So I feel like a lot of things can be, I don't want to go on a tangent. I feel like a lot of things can be handled with diet, and I feel like we should set an example for our children.
Okay, did we were going to reach out to Ed Advance, I forgot the woman's name over there. Becky. To ask her for any input she had on this topic. Were you able to get anything from her?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'd like to invite her to the board meeting if we can.
Okay.
I did, my kindergarten teacher had shared the ingredient list of a lot of things, and it's just junk. So all of it, like nothing nutritious. I mean, there's no red dyes or anything like that, but the rest of it's not any better. So,
I thought anything they served in the cafeteria was supposed to be healthy foods.
I mean, cotton candy ice cream sandwiches.
I'm
You know
just
what I mean?
asking. I thought that.
So there's a distinction, Penny, between what Megan is referring to, a la carte items, which are not part of the menu that is regulated USFDA and through nutrition services that we have as a sponsor from Ed Advance. Between that menu item, that's completely separated from the ice cream, the chips, or anything else that is offered Monday through Friday. And I believe Megan's concern is that it is offered every single day for our kiddos out of concern for our youth.
Well,
I
just
think
like
that's
why,
what she's saying.
why are we offering it? And I see, like, I've seen the menu for breakfast, and it's all sugars and starch, and and then I feel like the food pyramid's just like completely upside down everywhere. And if you want to offer it to them like every Friday, great, whatever, that's fine. But I just feel like every day is just excessive.
I concur.
Yeah.
Make an apple the dessert.
Or something, or
like that.
or get it at home.
So that is currently, I believe, I'm going to look at my principles, but I believe that's part of, right? They have apple or a fruit, milk. I thought, so. Okay, I wanted to make sure. I wasn't 100% positive. Okay. But it is there as an option. So this is above and beyond where you can't even charge this. Students can't charge this on their accounts. They would have to bring in cash from home to pay for it. So that, it almost obliges the fact that the parent is understanding of it or knows somewhat about it, unless the child is just bringing money to school without their parents being aware of it.
Well, like one example,
So-
Victoria asked for it, and I gave her a $5 bill. I was like, okay, you're going to come back with change, right? Teacher ended up holding it for her and let her get dessert another day without me knowing. So, not that I, obviously shouldn't give her a $5 bill, but you know what I mean? Like, there's just, I don't know. It shouldn't, I just feel like it shouldn't be there every day for everybody. That's that example, I guess.
I have a question. I don't really know because I have packed lunch for my son and snacks since he was here. So do they come to school, the parents give them money, and then they're allowed to get what they want? Is that what you're saying happens here?
That's for the à la carte items, which would be cash only. The other ones, you could place dollars into their lunch accounts for the lunch items, lunch menu items only, not your à la carte. So you can't charge your à la carte against your lunch account, your lunch debt account, if you will. So this would be a cash only kind of thing.
A similar thing happens in Canton as well. There are concerns, same issue. I know that one of the reasons I think that they do offer those items is to help them make money, basically. I mean, because a lot of what they're serving, the healthy foods that they're serving, they're not making any money on, and so they need to supplement other items.
Which is even a worse excuse,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know how I don't know how we go about, potentially amending that or whatever, but I'd love to at least, I don't know,
Well,
do something.
I think, again, Megan, you brought it forward to put it on the agenda. I'm listening to the board, and the board appears to share your concerns to the point that I think we should invite Becky in. We could talk about what exactly is being offered. We could talk about what other districts are doing and maybe the reason behind it. And then we can put this on an agenda for an upcoming meeting as well
And
with
maybe
Becky
if she can bring the ingredient list of everything too, at least to really see what's, I don't know if I'm going too far with that, but
Is this something the board in general would like to take up at another meeting?
I mean, I feel like the ingredient list in every single thing we're serving in schools is really not good.
correct.
So, I mean, unless you can overhaul the entire country with what we're serving in the schools, and we start going local, and we have the money and budget to hire from local farms to bring in fresh fruit and fresh food and everything else, I think you're gonna be up against the wall. I mean,
I'm pretty certain we're not going to be able to change what Ed Advance is providing, but we can control what we're allowing to come into the school, right? Right, we're not going to take a meal and tell them they have to make that meal differently, right? Because they're doing it for our district as well as others, right? But if it comes to this à la carte menu, we can take a look at that and, as a board, have a discussion surrounding whether we want that to be offered daily, if we want it offered once or twice a week, or how we want to proceed.
And the only other piece that I would add to that is if the board is considering that type of decision in the future, near future, I would highly recommend surveying all of our parents because they would have a huge stake in this decision as well. We should have that information from our parents, which can be sent out via survey relative to à la carte menus, because the last thing I want the perception to be is that we are restricting parent choice relative to food. So that's my only caution to the board. If we were going to continue this, please consider that as my recommendation to the board.
What else is on à la carte besides chips and cookies and ice cream?
I don't know. Those are the only
That's why
items.
we need-
Those are the only items I know. I don't know
That's
anything
why,
else.
that's why we're going to invite Becky in. Becky can,
Okay, there you go.
But maybe the child doesn't get it at home, or the parent doesn't want to have it, buy it and have it at home because of other children,
well, I think that'll come through the community survey.
right?
Yeah, and
mean,
if
I
the
would be the
parent
mother-
doesn't have it at home, we shouldn't be giving it to them here.
But see, I would be the parent that would give the child the money so they could have it. But that's me.
Okay, you can check with Becky. An upcoming-
I will do. I will invite her to our next board meeting. December the 3rd is when it's currently scheduled. With the following items, what's being offered, what are other districts doing, and some of the ingredient lists of what we're serving. À la carte ingredient list, or are we talking menu ingredient list too? So we'll start with à la carte? Okay, got it. Will do.
Good, thank you.
Sure.
All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda is public comment for agenda items only. Seeing none, we will enter executive session. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session at 7:59.
Motion by Penny,
And invite Superintendent Sousa to attend, please.
I'll second that.
second by Tim.
Say what?
All those in favor? It's unanimous.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
You just learned that?
What's that?
Importance of inviting the superintendent into this.
Oh.